Make sure you download the Woodward Sports app in the App Store and the Google Play Store today. Take Woodward Sports with you wherever you go and listen live on your phone or mobile device.
Good morning. Welcome to the Morning Woodward Show here on the Woodward Sports Network. December 29th. It's a tough day today, actually. Yesterday, the sports world lost John Madden, icon, coach, legend of the game. I think we all know him by the game of Madden, of course, but if you're old enough, you remember him as a coach. And if you're young, on the young side end, like I am, you heard him growing up. The Turducken. Sunday Night Football, Monday Night Football. Covered all the primetime games. If I recall correctly, he covered the last Lions home playoff game. And he tragically passed away last night. 85 years old, lived a full life. And I don't think anybody this morning can put into words just how much John Madden meant to people. I mean, Fish is somebody that knows nothing about football, basically. But he knows who John Madden is. Fish spends his time watching the Australian news and watching soccer. And even he knows who John Madden is. That should kind of give you an idea of who exactly he was. As a coach, one of the greatest 10-year runs I think we've ever seen in the sport. And to this day, he still owns the highest winning percentage as a coach. Minimum 100 games coached. He was hired at 32 years old. Innovative for his time. Loved the trenches. Huge guy. He was a great coach. Stepped away early. Went into broadcasting to fill his void. And he became a great at that too. And he wasn't done after that. No. He decided, I want to make a video game. I'm going to license off my name, image, and likeness. And I'm going to help, especially in the early on days of Madden, I'm going to help put together one of, if not the greatest sports games that actually educates people. You think I knew at 8 years old what Cover 2 was? No. I did from Madden. I knew what I formation was from Madden growing up. That's how you learn. You learned from John Madden. He was one of the first people to actually do it and speak that way. And of course he had his funny punchlines. I think we all remember, boom! You know? So it is a sad day, but I mean, that's an opportunity also to just reflect on how great of a guy he was. How much he meant to the sport. You think even I'm going to be sitting up here right now if it isn't for John Madden and everything he did for the game of football? People like him, Pat Summerall. I mean, this is a true legend. And for me, Madden was a larger-than-life figure. He was so relatable, humble, and funny. It's just a combination you don't see with someone who's so great and excellent at what they do. So, condolences to the Madden family. We wish them nothing of the best, and we can't thank them enough, especially for the Madden series. I mean, that in and of itself. How many times have we seen line players on the cover of Madden? I believe Calvin and Barry, right? There was that year where I think Peyton Hillis was on the cover. That was a shame. But you know what? That's what happens when you give fans the option to do something. They mess it up. So, it's all good. 85 years old, lived a full life. I don't think it's a day to be sad. Just remember what exactly he contributed to the game of football. Fair? All right. Speaking of football, the NFL and the NFLPA have undertaken the CDC guidelines in terms of the COVID-19 vaccine and protocol. What does that mean? Well, Carson Wentz was put on the COVID-19 injured reserve list yesterday, and not too long after that, news came out again that the NFL has adopted the CDC guidelines, meaning that they can now recover and play sooner, vaccinated or unvaccinated. And in Carson Wentz's case, he would have had to have missed 10 days with two negative tests in 24 hours. With the new ruling, it's 5 days with the same 24-hour period of testing negative twice. And I find it ironic that were, well, one, I appreciate it before I get sarcastic about this, because I like when people change what they're doing based on new information and data and saying, you know what, okay, early on, maybe I had a point here, but maybe 5, 6, 7 weeks later, the same point is not working. Maybe that isn't working at all. And I didn't think the COVID guidelines were working in the NFL. They have had now more cases in December than they had all of last year. And I understand new variants. Some give you the symptoms of a common cold. Some are just asymptomatic. But regardless, for me, this was a big step for the NFL. Because it all but saves, outside of the few cases that will show up on Thursday and Fridays, it all but saves teams from losing their starting players. What more can you ask for? I like the rule. I really do. I think it's a good decision. Fish, I'll tell you this. When it comes to this vaccine and mandating it, if we're going to mandate the vaccine, fine. In the NFL, fine. Okay. I should not be getting tested. Fair?
Well, again, they're doing it for the unvaccinated players.
I understand, and that's why I like the decision so much, to shorten the amount of days that they have to be away from the team. Because vaccinating hasn't prevented the spread of COVID. That's just the truth. But it has helped in terms of preventing people from being extremely sick. So I think the NFL is getting probably better and better with their COVID outbreak decision making. And for the first time, I actually agree with what they did. Because you can't keep doing the same thing over and over and over and over and over again while it's not working. Nobody liked the protocols. Look what the Browns had to do. They had to play a third string backup, then play on a short week, and play the Green Bay Packers. That's fun. No wonder they lost 2 straight. And they were in that game against Green Bay. But the point is, that is tough to deal with. And when you want to mandate something, well, there should be safety measures. All right, if you are vaccinated, let's say, you do not have to undergo testing. If you aren't vaccinated, you undergo more severe testing. I don't understand why they can't keep it that simple. I really don't. And you're seeing it now. It should have never been a mandate in the leagues. What should have been was more communication. And you're seeing it now within the teams. Aaron Rodgers went on the Pat McAfee show yesterday. And I think everyone's making a bit more of a big deal than it really is. In terms of him spreading false. He's not. Technically what he's saying is true. Technically, which means factually. But that doesn't mean you have to be an anti-vax person to understand that there are other alternatives to helping your body fight another sickness. Herbs, natural products, teas, supplements, making sure your body has the right nutrients in it. Those are just standard things you can do every single day to prevent yourself from getting sick, let alone fight something that I think we're still unsure of. And what I learned in 2021 is that we learned nothing as a society in 2020. We dealt with COVID, and for the last year, we acted like it didn't exist, essentially. And now it's spiking up again in December. I don't think this is something that goes away. I think it's something you need to adopt into your new life. This is the new normal. But I don't like how reactionary we are. I really don't. Anyways, there's a lot of football to get to. Jared Goff potentially being the future quarterback of the Detroit Lions. I don't know how I feel about that. Dan Campbell went on the flagship radio station yesterday and said, yeah, I mean, I don't see why not. He's playing pretty good ball right now. Okay. We'll get to that after the break. But before we do, Fish, could you tell everybody at home about our good friends at Northwestern Tech?
Well, I don't know if any of you guys walked outside. It was cold this morning. So, you need Northwestern Tech so you go in your house and it's nice and warm and cozy in your house. Start a new career in an industry that is always essential, the heating and cooling industry. Learn more today by visiting northwesterntech.edu.
Hi, I'm Kay Cunningham. I'm proud to partner with Hall Financial, a mortgage company known for 5-star service. Don't just take my word for it. Check out their 5,000 5-star reviews for yourself. Go to callhallfirst.com and get started with your 5-star experience today.
Fellas, football season is here. It's time to make your grooming experience easy like Sunday morning. Get to Lady Jane's Haircuts for Men. Walk in, relax, watch your favorite team play, and before you know it, your hair will be game ready. Get to Lady Jane's, open 10 to 8, 7 days a week. Walk in anytime. It's wicked awesome.
Your Detroit alternative to the normal sports blah, blah, blah. It's Woodward Sports.
Welcome back to the Morning Woodward Show here on the Woodward Sports Network. Whether you're listening live on the Woodward Sports app, YouTube, Twitter, Twitch, thanks for joining us this morning. Don't forget, after all of our shows end here on the Woodward Sports Network, they are posted as a podcast. You can listen to them on Spotify, Apple Podcasts, Google Podcasts, and Amazon Music, and essentially anywhere you listen to podcasts. Are we sold on Jared Goff being the future starting quarterback in Detroit? Dan Campbell came out yesterday, answered some questions regarding Jared Goff and his future here in Detroit. And he said, yeah, to quote unquote, yeah, I mean, I don't see why not. He's playing pretty good ball right now. And I didn't think much of it at first when I first read it. And then I kind of, did what I always do. And I dug extremely deep into this. And I said, all right, let me ask myself, do I have a problem with Jared Goff being the future quarterback of this franchise? And my immediate reaction is, yes, I do. I have a big problem with it. And then I took a step back a little bit. I took a deep breath, and I asked myself, okay, do I really have a problem with Jared Goff being the future quarterback of the Detroit Lions? And that's when I had this epiphany. And I told myself, you know what? I actually don't mind. And it's for a reason I don't think many would even say. If the Lions commit to Jared Goff long term, it would not surprise me one bit. And not only would it not surprise me, it would allow every Lions fan, media personality, whoever it may be, you would judge Dan Campbell and Brad Holmes based on their decision to move forward with Jared Goff. It's that simple. At the end of the day, you're judged by wins and losses, correct? And if they feel they can win football games with Jared Goff and they're putting out a good product, but their quarterback play is just awful, well, then you have to look at them and say, well, you botched this decision. And who knows, could it be too late? Will they get a quarterback in the later rounds this year? Will they draft one in the first round next year? So many questions, but I may disagree with keeping Jared Goff long term. But that doesn't mean I don't have to not support it, essentially. Why? Because Brad Holmes and Dan Campbell are making that decision. And it's a decision as fans you have to accept that your head coach and GM are going to make decisions. Some of them are going to work out. Some of them aren't. That's part of the game here. But you got to nail the quarterback position. And in Brad Holmes and Dan Campbell's time here, however long it may be, if it is followed with success on the field and quarterback play, and it's attributed to Jared Goff, great. But if it doesn't work out and you struggle with Jared Goff and you're losing games again next year and you're losing in year 3 when most people logically expect you to turn it around, and then what? Then you say, oh, well, our fallback is it's Jared Goff. I don't see it long term in Jared Goff. But I can accept that ultimately Brad Holmes and Dan Campbell will be judged based on wins and losses, the talent they put out on the field, and the progress they make in their time here in Detroit. And we brought up the comparison yesterday to Dan Campbell. Jim Schwartz. Now, they're totally different people. This isn't comparing two people. This is comparing two situations. Two situations I find so interesting. I really do. Schwartz takes over an 0-16 team. Dan Campbell takes over a team that was 5-11, franchise quarterback walking out of the door, and one of the bottom 5 rosters in the NFL. And they both have a lot of work to do. And what does Dan do year one? Well, he's at 2 wins. What did Schwartz do? 2 wins. Schwartz year 2, improved, 6-10. Next year, 6 to 7 wins is a realistic feat for the Detroit Lions if they have another offseason the way they did this past year. A little better than the free agency side, but I think you're all confident in Brad Holmes and his ability to draft, regardless of the round. So, moving into year 3, you have a 10-win season from Jim Schwartz. And is that the timeline for the Detroit Lions? And does that timeline fit with Jared Goff? Now, I know some of you are asking, what does long-term mean? Long-term is Jared Goff's deal expires in another 2 full seasons from now. Do they cut bait with him early? I don't see it, even if they draft a quarterback. Now, if they take one in the first round, that would change my mind. But they don't have one right now, and they haven't. And I don't think they do it this year. And Brad Holmes, in my opinion, and Dan Campbell have looked at Jared Goff and said, you know what? If we surround you with exponential talent, you can win us football games, which is what Jared Goff has proven he can do in the NFL. And if that's the bet that Brad Holmes and the risk that Holmes and Campbell are going to make with your football team, you have to accept it, of course, at the end of the day, because you're not making the decisions, and neither am I. But you accept it and you support it, knowing that if it doesn't work out, you have to hold them accountable. And if it works out and they win games and they win meaningful games, they win divisions, get to the playoffs, win some games, well, then you can say, and you can look at the project and say, all right, we've kind of stalled, but we've made immense progress in our franchise. And now we're just actually a quarterback away. So Jared Goff on an expiring deal, a year left, 2 years left, you pull in Alex Smith. You draft the young quarterback. You sit him for a year potentially. You could take that route that Kansas City took, or you just bring in the quarterback right away. But to me, Jared Goff is nothing more than a game manager. And guys, look at all of time. Just go back, the 2000s. Outside of Trent Dilfer, Joe Flacco, Brad Johnson, Nick Foles. I don't even consider Nick Foles, honestly, a game manager. I consider that a magical run. I would consider the Baltimore Ravens run a magical run. Ray Lewis's final year, Joe Flacco playing out of his mind in the playoffs, special teams scoring multiple touchdowns throughout that playoff run. So can you win on a consistent enough level? And let's forget the Super Bowl for a little bit. What does a franchise quarterback offer you? An opportunity to win the division year in and year out, let alone just compete. So you win it every other year. Great. That means in 10 years you've won 5 divisions. That's a good thing. I think people in Detroit would really appreciate that. I really do. So from here, it gets really interesting. Can you win your division and significant games, meaning playoff time, with Jared Goff? Yes, he's proven it with Sean McVay. But that's Sean McVay. And Dan Campbell is still writing his own story. It's so early for him. So not fair to even compare him to Sean McVay at the moment. But the point is, you're going to have a pretty talented roster next year. And I don't think anybody wants to talk about that fact. Why? Because expectations scare people. You're going to have a talented roster next year. And if Jared Goff is playing like a goof, it's not a good look. You have to get a quarterback. You cannot commit to him long term. That's what I think. I don't see how it works if you commit to Jared Goff beyond his current contract. And again, I don't have to like, hate, love. It doesn't matter. I don't have to have any ill or positive feelings toward Jared Goff. It doesn't matter. It's about production and winning football games, right? But the decision, again, is not yours, nor is it mine. And at the end of the day, the people in power, Brad Holmes, Dan Campbell, the front office, Sheila, they will all be held accountable for the decisions they make onward. And if that means keeping Jared Goff, great. Good for them. I hope you win. I hope you succeed. If you don't, people will be asking questions. Welcome to the business. And Lions fans, I really am curious, and I would love for you to answer in the chat. When do you expect this team to compete for the division? Realistically, what are you rooting for? Is it next year or is it the year after? If it's anything after year 3, I'm going to have a hard time buying into you. But I'm just curious. Do you actually think they compete by year 3? Isn't that the expectation? Hey, man, by year 3, we should have a talented enough roster. That's 3 off seasons, 3 drafts, correct? What are your feelings into next year and the year after? For me, 2023 makes a hell of a lot of sense. Why? I saw it with Schwartz. He took over a team that was at the bottom of the bottom. 0-16. A draft class that was not that deep. Outside of Matthew Stafford, that first round was pretty disastrous. There was maybe 1 or 2 decent players. So you got Stafford, you paired him with Calvin, but you still had a roster to build. So you won 2 games your first year, you drafted Sue, you got Fairley, you addressed the linebacker position, key free agents, and the next thing you know, you're winning 6 games, and then 10 games, and you're in the playoffs. I think the NFL is a 2 to 3 year turnaround always. The teams that do it in 1 year are typically circumstantial, but they do happen often. People forget this. They do happen often, but they are circumstantial. Sometimes teams just walk into a better situation, and coaches do. But next year, in my opinion, I think as a Lions fan, what you should be expecting is 6, 7 wins. I think that's fair, realistic, and that's a good number to hold somebody accountable for. If you think you're going to put out back-to-back 2-win seasons, you've got another thing coming. I don't care how much we appreciate the progress, how much people care about how exciting and energetic this team is. Year 2, got to win 5-6 games. And then year 3, you got to take the short step, in my opinion. I think year 3, you should be competing for the division title. I don't care who is in Green Bay. I don't care who the quarterback is. I don't care if Aaron Rodgers is still the quarterback. I don't care if the Packers are still very good. You don't win in the National Football League waiting for everybody to be bad around you so you could succeed. You succeed by building a very good roster that can compete against anyone. If that was the case, if that wasn't the case, do you think the Los Angeles Chargers, the Denver Broncos, the Raiders, they would be sitting there in their division knowing that they have Patrick Mahomes for the next 10, 12 years? They would just pout and sit there and say, oh, well, they got Patrick Mahomes. We'll just call it a decade. No. They're going to fight. They're going to get their own quarterbacks. And they're going to try and win football games. That's what football teams do. That's what good organizations do. So that's where we're at this morning. Do they commit to Jared Goff long term? I find it super interesting. I really do. We do have to go to break. When we get back, a new game on the show. It's called the 5-word game. 5 words to sum up a team, a season, a player, and coach for teams around and individuals around the NFL. But before we go, I do have to tell you about our good friends at MyBookie. MyBookie is the premier sportsbook that you should be checking out. Bet from anywhere, anytime using MyBookie. Sign up today using code Woodward. They'll match your first deposit $1 for $1. You put in $100, they'll give you $100. You give them $200, they will match your $200. It's essentially a risk-free bet. Again, sign up today using code Woodward. Don't miss out on your opportunity. Free $1 match going into the new year. Don't miss out, everybody. And if you do have a gambling problem, please call 1-800-270-7117.
I'm looking to bring on another HVAC tech right now.
We're recruiting 5 to 10 techs a month.
We're looking to grow and expand. Every new tech we hire is from Northwestern Tech.
The hands-on training is fantastic.
They're always my first call.
We love hiring Northwestern Tech grads.
They come out trained and ready to work.
Our program is only 10.5 months, and our next classes are starting soon. So why wait?
I'm looking to hire
Hire a graduate
of Northwestern Tech.
Northwestern Tech.
Northwestern Tech.
Opinions are like ear holes, and we're putting ours in yours.
Well, that's not winning, Joy.
It's Woodward Sports.
Okay, you thirsty little spin goblins. I want you to pedal into the next dimension. Spin it! Spin! Spin! Uh-oh! Carmen's falling behind. Let's give her the hiss of shame. Spin! Spin! Spin till you bleed!
Don't ride the bike of shame. Come to Planet Fitness and find your own lane with tons of equipment, free fitness training, and no hissing. Join today for just $10 a month.
What's the over-under? Should I tease? Who is the lock of the night? Make sure you're watching Woodward Bets to get the latest in sports betting and more. Woodward Bets daily on Woodward Sports.
Welcome back to the Morning Woodward Show here on the Woodward Sports Network. You can check us out live on the radio from 10 a.m., 12:30 a.m., or 12:30 p.m. daily, Monday through Friday, on the Roar 99.1 FM, 93.5 FM, and 94.7 HD2. Thank you all for joining us this morning. New game here on the morning show. 5 words. It's called the 5-word game. 5 words to sum up individuals, players, coaches, teams across the league in the NFL. And we're going to start with my good friend, Pete Carroll, and the Seattle Seahawks. Oh, Pete, this ain't it. The Seattle Seahawks will lose Russell Wilson if they continue to act and make decisions the way they have been over the recent years. They've been mediocre this year, coming off a division win where, let's be honest, they won the division last year. They were 12-4, but they were Russell Wilson dependent, and that is not a good thing. You should never be solely dependent on your quarterback to win you football games. Quarterback, yes, is the most valuable position, most important, but that doesn't mean you don't give him surrounding pieces. And I'm not just talking about the flashy positions at wide receiver. I'm talking a decent defense, a solid O-line that isn't going to get him killed and injured. Not a good look, Pete. You need to be coaching. All the other stuff you're trying to do, put it down, man. Put it down. You have no business doing everything else. You work a job as a head coach of a football team, which requires roughly anywhere from 90 to 110 hours a week. Where in the hell are you going to make time to be the president, the part GM, decision maker, etc., etc.? You lost me when you traded 2 first-round picks for Jamal Adams. Sorry. Seattle, figure it out. Don't sleep on the Titans. The Tennessee Titans have been sneaky good. And may I remind you, they've done it without their best player, Derrick Henry, who they will get back. And may I also remind you that the team I am dearly in love with, the Indianapolis Colts, they are considered the dark horse. But it's the Tennessee Titans that have been able to win tough games this year. Twice against the Colts. They've beaten the Niners. Coming off a huge win, A.J. Brown emerging, looks like a stud. Mike Vrabel and that coaching staff are doing a hell of a job. And as someone that has to sit up here every day and tell you what's going on, what I expect to see going forward from some of these teams, I refuse to disrespect or disregard the Tennessee Titans. They will be a problem in the AFC. Good luck playing them in the wild card. This next one is a personal favorite for me. Holds a dear place in my heart. Baker, we have a problem. Baker Mayfield is what he is, guys. He's a middle-of-the-pack quarterback, 29-29 over his career. And if you're Cleveland, you have a roster that should be winning the division, should be competing in the playoffs, and should be getting to AFC title games. Baker's falling apart. His interception percentage is up to back where it was his rookie year when he threw 27 interceptions. He throws an interception 2.9% of the time, the highest it's been, and the exact number it was during his rookie campaign, where he threw 27 interceptions. Cleveland, move on. What are you waiting for? What are you waiting for? Do you need my help? I will offer my services. If somebody needs to drive Baker Mayfield to the airport in Cleveland, no problem. I'll drive him to a private airstrip. I will fly him myself to the Dominican Republic. I'll give him a parachute and $30, and I'll make him jump out of the plane. Cleveland, don't waste that offensive line. Don't waste that defense, and do not waste Nick Chubb. You have the formula. Get a decent quarterback. Get an above-average quarterback. Baker's average. You need an above-average quarterback, and you can win. That's a team that should be winning the division. This next one. I love this. This is I thought this was a good one. Deshaun who? Tua can play. All the talk, all season, when the Miami Dolphins were 1-7, all the talk was when and if they will trade for Deshaun Watson. Will they send Tua multiple first-round picks? And since starting the season 1-7, and all the trade rumors scattering around the league, the Miami Dolphins have since won 7 straight. The first team in NFL history, mind you, to lose 7 straight and win 7 straight in a given season. They're now 8-7, and Tua has shown he can be an effective quarterback, whether you like it or not. Now, is he a franchise quarterback? Is he the guy I want pioneering my franchise? No, I don't. But I do understand he is, again, one of those guys. Ryan Tannehill, potentially a Jared Goff, Kirk Cousins, could fall into the Baker Mayfield class if he doesn't perform. But he's accurate. He's an accurate quarterback who plays a dink and dunk style game. And that works when you have Jalen Waddle, but it doesn't work in the postseason, and it doesn't work over 17 games. You will not win your division playing this conservatively. I need to see Tua throw the ball downfield much more often than he is now. Now, am I expecting him to be Josh Allen, Patrick Mahomes, Justin Herbert? No. But you need to be a little dynamic and unpredictable. And I feel right now Miami is extremely predictable, and the defense under Brian Flores has improved vastly. And it's a big part of why they've won 7 straight. But you can't ignore that Tua can play. And I'm glad that the Deshaun Watson rumors are over. I thought it was a big waste of time. All right, this next one. Detroit may have a future. Coming from, obviously, Detroit's #1 villain, as you guys like to call me. I like to call myself Detroit's most honest, but hey, 2 different words, same meaning, I guess. Guys, Detroit may have a future, and I'll tell you why. The Lions are 10-5 against the spread this year. And what does that mean? I could care less about the betting value of the Detroit Lions. What I care about is what they're telling me at 10-5 against the spread is that the Lions are better than what Vegas is projecting. And Vegas has yet to catch up to how good this Detroit Lions team technically is. And no, I'm not saying they're world beaters, but they are better than what is perceived out in the national public, along with Vegas. And Vegas doesn't often get things right. Remember, Vegas early on in the year was overselling the Kansas City Chiefs. 7.5, 8.5, 9.5 point favorites against good teams. Reality started to kick in, and okay, we lost enough money. They haven't learned about the Lions yet, but Brad Holmes has delivered in his first draft. You guys want to point out to me free agency, contractual obligations, trades? Okay, fine. GMs make mistakes all the time. I don't mind the Perriman blow up. The Benson trade. I don't care. I don't. I'll tell you why. Because in this game, you're going to hit and you're going to miss. And the way you win long-term is hitting more than you miss. And Brad Holmes so far has hit more than he's missed. Brad Holmes with 3 picks this year. And not only does he have 3 picks, it's 3 picks in the first 33 selections. Which means you are getting, technically, should be getting, 3 of the top 33 players in this upcoming draft. And Brad Holmes will be making that decision for you. The Lions could be onto something sooner than most imagine. And to be very blunt with you, I have not felt this confident about a front office in Detroit probably since Mayhew was here with Jim Schwartz. Now again, they weren't perfect, guys. Nobody's perfect. Nobody hits it out of the park every year. Bill Belichick has struggled his entire career drafting wide receivers. The Pittsburgh Steelers have yet to draft a replacement for Ben, and they should have been doing it for 4 or 5 years now. Even the great ones make mistakes, and they miss. I don't expect Brad Holmes to hit on everything. And I really do believe they could be onto something. The buy-in on Jared Goff being the solution in the interim and long-term does concern me, but they have the next 2 seasons to make that decision on Jared Goff. They do. And I think by year 3, if you somehow pull off a 10-win season with Jared Goff as your quarterback, but you realize there is a ceiling, but you had projected for it, so you took a quarterback the year prior, and he sat an entire year, and then you can pass off the reins to him, Detroit, I think you may have a future. We talk about the future all the time with the Red Wings, the Pistons, the Tigers. Tigers, I think, are competing for the pennant this year. We never often talk about it with the Lions. Why? They always break your heart. They always fail you. And they very well could fail you again under this regime. But the point is, I think the confidence is there. The public approval is there. And I see the direction. That doesn't mean it'll work. You guys need to understand something about life. Life is cruel. You can be the first one in the office. You can be the last one to leave. You could eat all the right things. You could not smoke, drink. You could study all day, all night. You could devote your life to what you believe in the most. That does not mean you'll be successful. It increases your chances of being successful, but there's never, ever guarantees. Ever. The Sherlock #1 overall picks that always work out, they don't. They don't. We always talk about this in the NBA. The lottery, what, 1 player minimum every draft in the lottery works out. The rest, out of the league in 3-4 years. For the most part. This isn't, I don't want to say it's rocket science, but this isn't as easy as maybe some perceive. And I don't mind mistakes along the way as long as the hits are more than the misses. Watch out, Detroit. 10-5 against the spread. I love that number when I saw it. It tells me Vegas is underrating this football team, and nationally, they aren't being given the credit. And again, I think what I find most fascinating in all of this is that they're doing it with 0 expectations, guys. I mean, the roster, it's been depleted at this point. Yet, they've found a way to overcome it. They have found a way to overcome and compete and put out a good product. And look, again, if it's my decision, I am planning on taking a quarterback in 2023. I just am. But what Dan Campbell and the Lions decide to do with Jared Goff is ultimately up to them. But I got to tell you guys, Friday, 5:30, you better be tuning into the Woodward Sports Network. The Orange Bowl will be doing a live pregame show for the Orange Bowl. Myself, Stick, and Braylon Edwards. 5:30 to 7:30, we'll be doing an official Michigan versus Georgia Orange Bowl pregame show. It is going to be a blast. You can watch it live on YouTube, Twitter, Twitch, listen in on the app. I am so excited for the show. I really am. I really, really am. It's going to be a great show. And speaking of great shows and really just great things, Gypsy Vodka is another great thing. Gypsy Vodka is the smoothest tasting vodka on the market. Support our local brothers here from Michigan and buy a Michigan-owned product. Try a bottle today and ask for it by the name of Gypsy. And as always, drink responsibly. We'll see you guys after the break. When we get back, Anthony Broome will be joining us to talk some Michigan football.
Fellas, football season is here. It's time to make your grooming experience easy like Sunday morning. Get to Lady Jane's Haircuts for Men. Walk in, relax, watch your favorite team play, and before you know it, your hair will be game ready. Get to Lady Jane's, open 10 to 8, 7 days a week. Walk in anytime. It's wicked awesome.
Hi, I'm Kay Cunningham. Working with Hall Financial to purchase my first home was easier than I could have ever imagined. They treated me like family from start to finish. Find out for yourself at callhallfirst.com.
Live from Woodward Avenue. That's why we're called Woodward Sports. Detroit's radio sports network.
Welcome back to the Morning Woodward Show here on the Woodward Sports Network. Questions in the chat. When are we doing the fantasy football presentation? When Jeff decides not to be sick. That's when.
Did you get the trophy, by the way?
I did. It was delivered to my house yesterday.
What is it? Can I have a description of what it looks like?
It looks like a trophy.
Well, I know that, but all trophies are different. Like the Super Bowl is different than the Stanley Cup,
True.
which is different than the NBA trophy.
I would say it's a pretty cool looking trophy. There is a player at the top making a certain pose that I won't give away.
Oh.
So,
okay.
Yeah, Jeff, I believe, will be happy. I'm glad he's earned it. But, guys, Michigan play in the Orange Bowl in a few days. Anthony Broome will be joining us shortly, but I do want to touch on this before we get in to Anthony. Are we overstating how good Michigan is and how bad maybe Georgia is? Are we? Is there too much overreaction? I don't think so. And I'll tell you why. I think when you're a Michigan fan, and just a fan in general, when your team is at the game, and you've shown it all year, which they have, I don't blame them for having all the confidence in the world that they can take down Georgia. Like, I get it. Alabama totally gets my respect, and I can revere them and look at them in awe. Wow, what a program. Unbelievable players. Georgia? What the hell has Georgia done? Great program. They're building something there, but they never delivered a championship. They've never done anything significant, at least in recent time. So what exactly is the problem here with Michigan fans being, let's say, overly confident? Wouldn't you be? Wouldn't you be overly confident if your team beat one of the best teams in the country to end the season? If your team shown that they can run the ball on anybody and that they can win in the trenches and that their defense can play actually good defense against a team that they've given up 50, 60 points to for the last 10 years? Do you actually blame them for being overconfident? I don't. Do I think the team is overconfident? I don't think so. I don't. I think they're extremely focused and prepared. I think there's a lot of good leaders on that team, just from a player standpoint, let alone the coaching. Michigan's going to be ready. Michigan will be ready for whatever happens on Friday. And I'm here for it. I really am. I'm extremely excited. I understand the SEC is the best conference, etc., etc. I get it. I really do. And of course I should give them the benefit of the doubt. It is Georgia. They were one of the best teams. All season, they were one of the best teams. Got to give them credit. But when they scheduled Clemson, did you think they expected the Clemson that couldn't put up anything? I think they really thought they were better than what they were, and they were, I don't want to say exposed against Bama, but we oversold them. Vegas oversold what Georgia was. And I'm sorry, I will not punish a team and a fan base for feeling confident in a product that is actually successful. Now, if you told me Lions fans are confident this year and they're going to go 11-6 and they're going to make a run at the division, well, yeah, I would sit up here and bash you for that. I would. Because what evidence do you have that would lead you towards that conclusion? With Michigan, I have an 11-1 season, a Big Ten championship, 12 wins for the first time ever, and now looking to win their 13th game for the first time ever and get to the college football playoff. Excuse me, Michigan fans have every right to be confident. Alex, do we have Anthony on? Not yet? All right, cool. Well, while we wait for Anthony, we can shift to Cincinnati, Bama real quick. Fish, as Mr. Cincinnati supporter yourself, what are your expectations for this game? Are you over under 38.5 points Alabama wins by?
Over under 30th that Alabama wins by? Under. I think Cincinnati hangs in for Alabama. I don't think Cincinnati wins, but I think Cincinnati gives Alabama a fight. Maybe not for the whole game, but definitely for at least 3 quarters. Alabama will win maybe like 38-20. I think both teams will score a lot, and I think Cincinnati will hang in for Alabama.
Okay. Well, I don't mind that. I really don't.
People are underestimating Cincinnati.
Are they, though?
13-0. I haven't played anyone. Yes, you are. You're underestimating them.
The 86th ranked strength of schedule. We're underselling them. Are we?
Yeah.
How?
I mean,
look, they got good ball players. Don't get me wrong. They've got 3-4 NFL players on that team.
Just
100%.
Because you see 86 strength of schedule doesn't mean you got to actually watch how they play.
Yeah, I watched them struggle against Tulane, Tulsa, and Navy.
Okay, well,
not Navy, excuse me. They blew out Navy. Notre Dame, I believe. No. They did struggle
against
against
Notre
Navy.
Dame.
Yeah. I meant Notre Dame struggled against Navy, but they didn't. Notre Dame blew out Navy. And Cincinnati struggled against Navy. Yeah.
Well,
look,
Michigan struggled against Nebraska, and look where that got them.
Nebraska, everybody struggled against Nebraska. Oklahoma, Ohio State, Michigan State, everybody struggled against Nebraska. Come on, Fish.
Well, just saying. And Nebraska, last time I checked, they're not very good. Just saying, I mean...
I can't believe I'm saying this because the win-loss record tells me a lot about teams. But Nebraska is like the best 4-7, 4-8 team, whatever they were this year. I'm sorry. They were so good. They were really good. They had a really dynamic quarterback. They lost a ton of close games. They could not get out of their own way. Late fumbles, interceptions. It happens. It happens. But I'm not going to undersell Nebraska and what they did. Do we have Anthony on, Alex, or no? All right. Well, I'm just going to continue then with Michigan for the time being. And where I want to go with this, guys, and feel free to answer this question in the chat, and I will answer it as well. Is there a possibility that even if a national championship is delivered for Michigan, that Cade McNamara transfers? Are we sure Cade is transferring? Honestly. Like, what has he done wrong to lose the job? Outside of being an average game managing quarterback. Who I believe next year, if was the starting quarterback, this team would struggle immensely. Because they're losing so much talent. Why is it that we are so sure that JJ is going to start, even though we want him to, and I do want him to. Of course I want JJ to be the starting quarterback next year. But how sure are we? How? How sure can you be that at the end of the day, no matter what happens, this will be revered as one of the best seasons in Michigan's program's history, essentially, since 97. Hell, 04, 97, depends what your taste is. But for the first time, they got a taste of what competing for a national championship feels like. They're recruiting a top 10 recruiting class again this year. They're going to look good. But does Cade transfer? One, if they lose against Georgia, but two, if they lose in the championship game. Georgia, if they just lose to Georgia, I think it would make more sense. I could see it happening. Oh, okay, like, all right, we reached our ceiling. But what if Cade just balls? What if he plays like he did against Michigan State for the first 3 quarters? Is he really going to transfer? Honestly. I think we're underselling the fact that he likely could stay. Why would he transfer from a team he helped get to a national title game now? Or excuse me, the college football playoff, I should say. But still, yes, he was a game manager. Absolutely. No doubt about it. Yes, J.J. McCarthy offers so much more dynamic football, big plays down the field, RPOs, absolutely. But it wouldn't shock me. But if Cade returns, what is the consequence? Does J.J. hit the transfer portal? I think he does. Remember, Cade has 2 more years of eligibility. You think J.J. McCarthy's going to sit? And you've already used one of his years of eligibility. I find that fascinating. Fish, what do you think of Cade McNamara as a game managing quarterback?
I definitely think he is very good. But I mean, he could transfer. He could transfer even if he's the starting quarterback. I mean, just because he's the starting quarterback doesn't necessarily mean that he's not going to transfer. We've seen several quarterbacks transfer that are very good just because they want to go to a different place for either, well, nowadays you go to a different place for more money, but back when there was no name, image, and likeness, you just go to a different team just because you wanted to go to a different team.
Fair enough.
For new experience.
All right, well, we do have Anthony Broome joining us on the morning show this morning. Thank you, Anthony, for joining. How you doing, buddy? I hope you're feeling good. I know you got COVID.
Who doesn't have COVID now, the way things are going? I feel okay. Thanks for I was still able to get myself out of bed here. Everything's good. Just, sucks. Was supposed to be on the way to Miami. It's not going to happen, but there's still potentially another game to play after this. So,
well, luckily for you, the weather outside is exactly what's going on in Miami right now. I don't know if you've paid attention, but it's beautiful out here. I mean, the weather in Michigan is unbelievable.
Oh yeah, it's no difference at all this time of year. It's not that big of a deal. So, who needs vitamin D anyways?
Yeah, I mean, doctors always complain about it, and then they tell you, oh yeah, if you tan too much, you get cancer, but you kind of need vitamin D. Whatever. I'm not a doctor. I don't know what the hell I'm talking about. Anthony, I do want to ask you, how did we get here, man? How did we witness not only an 11-1 season where they beat Ohio State, and not only beat them, they shellacked them, but how did we witness a Big Ten title and now the first college football playoff in Michigan's history?
Because Michigan won the games it needed to win. We're so many weeks removed. I mean, it'll almost be a month. It'll be 27 days since Michigan last played a football game when they kick off on Friday, and it's still something that we're used to Michigan playing in bowl games this time of year, but they're one of the last. You see opt-outs, you see games getting canceled. Like, Michigan's not involved in any of those games right now. They're involved in one of the 2 bowl games that matter for now, and they could be involved in the third come January 10th if they find a way to win this game. So, I mean, it's we've talked about this before. It's a group that has done this through sheer force of will, led by guys like Aiden Hutchinson and the seniors, the Jim Harbaugh's rebooted coaching staff. They just the preseason expectations for us were what they were. I don't think they were unfounded. I mean, we're all evidence-based people here. It had been a tough go of it, and this was a bit of a reboot year. But credit to the senior class, credit to the coaching staff, the talent on the roster. I mean, this is still, regardless of what happened last year, there was a lot of talent still on this team. And I always have maintained the thought that if this program could just find a way to stay out of its own way, it would do wonders for them, and maybe give them a puncher's chance to beat an Ohio State and get to Indy. And not only did they have a puncher's chance, I mean, they knocked Ohio State out, and they did it even worse to Iowa the week after that. This was, it really just boils down to the idea that they just got better from week 1 to week 13, week 14, whatever it was, and gave themselves a chance to be one of the last 4 teams remaining. And it's I hesitate to say that whatever happens from here is gravy, because you're so close now. You can taste, potentially the first national title since 1997. You got to stay competitive. I mean, you don't want to see them get blown out by Georgia or go play Alabama and Cincinnati and get blown out there. But it just kind of feels like now you're playing with house money, so to speak. You've knocked off so many narratives from what's happened this year that, hey, now the pressure is off. You just go out there and play football now. And I think that's a really good spot for them to be in.
Yeah, I love that they came into the season unranked. The first unranked team to ever make a college football playoff. I really think that was a driving factor, along with Harbaugh's offseason coaching changes. But, Anthony, I don't have an issue with the fan base and really the team being confident going into Friday. I actually have no issue with this. I think they should be confident. They've earned that right. They're a 12-1 football team. They're a Big Ten champion. I actually have no issue with them saying, you know what? Yeah, we could beat Georgia. No. I don't care that they're an SEC team. No problem. We got this. Am I missing something here?
No, I mean, I think once you do what you do to a team like Ohio State, at full strength, mind you, because it seems like their entire, many of their key contributors are going to opt out of this Rose Bowl. When you do what you did against Ohio State at full strength with what was on the line, that was no fluke. I mean, Ohio State fans have said, oh, well, it was snowing. Oh, well, C.J. Stroud had the flu. Oh, players on their team had the flu. No, Michigan beat the hell out of that team, and it was not as close as the score indicated. That was not fluky. And I do think that if Ohio State beats Michigan, they obviously win the Big Ten, and they're in the dance themselves, and they probably are one of the teams to beat if they get in here. Michigan, they passed the eyeball test at this point. This isn't a fluke. There haven't really been fluky wins on their part this year. Their resume is what it is for a reason. Georgia, in a lot of ways, it's like the old Spider-Man meme where the two teams are pointing at each other. Now, Georgia allows about a touchdown less per game, but you go and look through their schedule. I'm not saying they haven't played anybody, but they haven't played, the one team they've played that is probably on their level is Alabama, and Alabama had their way with them. So, like I said, it's going to be, when I look at this game on Friday, it's going to be one of those slugfest type of games. I don't expect it to be very high scoring. In fact, I think it probably will be very similar to Michigan's game against Penn State, that 21-17 win from late November, mid-November, whatever it was. But Michigan has, of course they have a chance because they have, they have the defense they have. When you bring, defense travels, warm weather, cold weather. They've got the two best pass rushers in college football in Aiden Hutchinson and David Ojabo. They've got an offense that, is probably going to have its work cut out for it, but they have a plethora of options all over the field, whether it be at running back, at tight end, in the passing game. They have both of their quarterbacks have played extremely well when called upon in super different roles there. They of course have a chance against Georgia. I mean, they have a far better chance against Georgia than Cincinnati does against Alabama. I look at the Vegas spread, and it's probably about right to me. I mean, when things are so evenly matched, you look to the margins and just see where these teams can separate each other. For me, it's just Georgia is just recruiting-wise more talented, but so is Ohio State too, and so were other teams on the schedule that stuck up or. Had good talent on their roster too. Michigan hasn't seen anything like this. I mean, this Georgia defensive line is the elite of the elite, and Michigan's offensive line is the elite of the elite. So, if you're someone who loves smash mouth football and a low margin of error in a football game, I think Friday night's going to be a game for you.
Low margin of error, I think, is a perfect way to describe Cade McNamara and his play all season. He hasn't turned the ball over much. Untimely in certain games, missed some throws in the big games, especially against Michigan State in the fourth quarter. But Cade McNamara, and I hate to do this before the game, but damn it, Anthony, I can't help it. It's my job. If Michigan somehow, regardless of what happens, let's just say there are two scenarios. The scenario being they don't make it to the national title game, meaning they lose to Georgia, or they get there and they win. Are we sure K transfers? He's got 2 more years of eligibility. I like JJ a lot. I see so much potential in him. But is it as done as people are saying it is? I don't think so. I think Cade has just as good of a chance at coming back next year.
Yeah, I mean, I would expect both those guys to be back. I think when the second this season is over, to me, knowing Harbaugh the way I do, the guy who's been here and who's put the time in always kind of gets the early nod, but that clock resets. I mean, Michigan didn't recruit J.J. McCarthy to sit on the bench. And that's why he's played so much this season. I mean, he's too talented a player to not have on the field in some capacity. And for him at quarterback, I mean, the biggest jump for a lot of these guys comes from that freshman to sophomore year. And really, he's got even more experience because he came in during the winter last year. So I think the clock will reset. I think it will be one of the for my money's worth, if you already have a guy, regardless, forget even what happens in the college football playoff, McNamara has helped lead you to a Big Ten championship, a win over Ohio State. He will have the leg up there, and he can get better too. Like you said, he still has a couple years of eligibility left. So this is going to be one of the more hotly contested quarterback battles probably in the history of Michigan football, certainly, and definitely in college football in a long, long time. So, if whoever loses it, there's a chance they might hit the transfer portal. I don't. That's more of a speculatory thing for me. I don't have inside info to suggest either of those guys are itching to do that if they lose the job. But, that's what it is now. I mean, the one thing I can say about, take the names, take the recruiting rankings, take everything out of it. Whoever emerges from that battle this offseason, you have to feel pretty good about what they bring to the table, especially coming back to an offense next year that's going to bring back just about everyone. From a skill position standpoint, they'll only lose Hassan Haskins, I think. So, it's going to be tough. Tough to figure out who's going to be that guy, but those guys are they're going to get after it, and it's going to be a lot of fun to follow and watch. And I know we all love the shiny new toy that's in the box, but at the end of the day, and this isn't me advocating for one guy over the other, you just got to go with the guy that gives you the best chance to win. And I think that all year, Adam, you and I have had these conversations throughout the year. Can Cade do it? Can Cade do it? Can he hold on to this job? Should it be JJ? I'm telling you, man, he has just held on. He's continued to hold on, and they've continued to win football games, and that's going to be the biggest emphasis, regardless of how it looks. You lead this team to wins, to championships. You go from there. But I do think once this season is over, the clock will reset. Those two guys will get after it again, and Cade will either have to keep it or JJ is going to take it away from him. But whoever earns it will have earned it probably more so than any Michigan quarterback ever has.
All right, Anthony, if you don't mind, I'm going to take a quick break. When we get back, I do want to talk about expectations of the fan base heading into the game, and I do have one more question to you for you regarding Jim Harbaugh and potentially a player they may be missing on Friday. When we get back, Anthony Broome joining the morning show, guys. We'll see you right after the break.
I'm looking to bring on another HVAC tech right now.
We are recruiting 5 to 10 techs a month.
We're looking to grow and expand. Every new tech we hire is from Northwestern Tech.
The hands-on training is fantastic.
They're always my first call.
We love hiring Northwestern Tech grads.
They come out trained and ready to work.
Our program is only 10 and a half months, and our next classes are starting soon. So why wait?
I'm looking to hire
a graduate
of Northwestern Tech.
Northwestern Tech.
Northwestern Tech.
Northwestern Tech.
That's how you answer. We love our sports. We just wish they'd love us back. Detroit sports for Detroit sports fans. Woodward Sports.
Fellas, football season is here and coming to a close. It's time to make your grooming experience easy, like Sunday morning. Get to Lady Jane's Haircut for Men. Walk in, relax, anytime. 7 days a week open, 10 to 8. Walk in anytime. Guys, it's wicked awesome, and that's where Jeff and I get our hair done. And since you compliment us so much, I'd recommend trying it out. Lady Jane's, guys. All right, we're joined by Anthony Broome, Wolverine, Mr. Wolverine himself, Mr. Holy Crap, I witnessed a Big Ten title for the first time in my life himself. Oh, man, it's been a great year for Michigan football. It really has. I went to the Ohio State game versus Michigan. It was such a great experience, and I just felt so happy for everyone that was there. Like, I could just not get the smile off of my face seeing how happy everybody around me was. But, Anthony, I have a certain feeling going into Friday on how I think Michigan fans should feel. And as Mr. Michigan himself, I'd like you to judge me if I am right or wrong. There's maybe not a wrong answer here, but I do believe Michigan fans, one, are going in with essentially, I mean, they have house money. They've won the Big Ten title. They've beaten Ohio State. Like, you can't kill the vibe that Michigan has going on right now, in my opinion. Now, if they get blown out by Georgia, I think that would be quite the distaste going into the offseason, but you'd get over it. You were a Big Ten title, Big Ten champion. And what can you ask for year in and year out from your program? Compete for the conference championship that we're in. And if you compete in every other year, you're winning a Big Ten title game, that means you're likely in the college football playoff every other year. So the opportunities will come, and hopefully in abundance in the future. But Anthony, I just see house money, optimism, confidence. I have no issue with all of it.
Yeah, I hit on that a little bit earlier. I do think there is an aspect of it. Like, I feel like the story of this team was written coming out of last year, rebounding from what they came back from. That's a big part of their story. How they came back from the Michigan State game is part of their story. The Wisconsin, the Nebraska games is part of the story. Penn State, Ohio State, Iowa. That's by and large the story of this team has been written and etched in stone. And regardless of what happens from here, I think there is an aspect of it where, it can only get better. Nothing about what happened about this season can put a sour taste in your mouth, get worse, what have you. It can only get better from here. So, like I said, I think you're dead on. Like, the expectation is, that last weekend in November, play Ohio State with a shot to go to Indy, win a Big Ten championship. Check, check, check. All that is done. But there is there's a certain point too where you want to make trips like this. I mean, you're not going to go to the college football playoff every year. You're not. There's only one Alabama that does that. But there is kind of an aspect where you can kick the door and be like, you know what? We're here to stay here as well. We want to be a playoff team. We want to be a team that doesn't just get there and punches their ticket like, say Washington did or Michigan State did, where they were just kind of one and done. You're out of there. You have a chance to kind of push forward the expectation now. And if you can win one of these playoff games and get to a national title game, go back to Indianapolis, now we're talking about something different on the line. And that's where this, I've been on the record saying I don't think this is just like some storybook season for them. I do think that what they're doing is sustainable. But if you can get just that much farther in a year like this, it stops being, just a feel-good story and is more of like a paradigm shift. Okay, so like I said, it is house money, but there is a little bit more on the line here, in terms of what this program can still accomplish. So it's a fun place to be in if you're a Michigan fan, because like I said, I mean, really outside of Georgia putting up a 70 burger and shutting you out, there's really nothing that can happen moving forward that people would be super disappointed with. The story of this team is written. It is, it could have a lot. It could have an ending that is, classic and all timer and hammers at home, or it can be what it has been, which is still, amazing. It's been an incredible turnaround. So we'll see what happens from there. But I don't think that, I think Michigan fans should expect to have a chance to beat Georgia, but I don't think you should be upset if you don't.
Man, I really couldn't agree more. I do want to ask you before we let you go in a few. I need a prediction, or I don't know if you're holding on to it, or if you've got your own podcast that you're running probably tomorrow since you're going to be at home. But I need to know. I need to know where you're at. I got a really low-scoring game. I've got Michigan pulling it out 20-16. I know I'm spoiling it. I don't care. I think Michigan gets it done. I think it's probably going to be one of the uglier games of the year. I think both quarterbacks are going to make mistakes, and I think both defensive fronts are going to get to the quarterback, and they're going to shut down the run. So, Anthony, who you got?
Man, I haven't even internalized or put together a prediction yet, but I guess we're getting pretty close to doing that. So, yeah, I'll do it here. Something tells me that Michigan will win this game. I think that it will be low scoring, like you said. Something along the lines of if, like I said, that Penn State game from earlier on in the season, or at least it was mid-November. I'm going to go 24-20 Michigan. I think this will come down to someone needing to put a drive together at the end of the game. And I trust your guy, Cade McNamara. If someone needs to put a drive together, I trust him more than I do Stetson Bennett at the end of the game. So I will go Michigan 24-20. It's probably the least confident I've been in a prediction this year, but I do think that they have the goods to pull this out in a bit of a slugfest. I just think their DNA for this type of game, I think, will hold up a little more than Georgia does. So I do have Michigan winning 24-20. I wouldn't use that as betting advice. Don't go bet based on what I say, but that's how I feel about it. So we'll see what happens.
I do have one concern. Allegedly, Dax Hill may not make the trip to Miami. And if that's the case, Georgia has a tight end I'm actually genuinely concerned about. He reminds me of a young Rob Gronkowski, and I'm not joking. And I mean that comparison to the full. I'm not talking, he just has a very similar build. No, he can block. He can catch the ball downfield, and he is a pain in the butt to bring down. I think that could be one of the X factors on Friday, is how involved is the Georgia tight end going to be. I think he could pick apart the Michigan secondary. I don't think there's a guy on that defense in the secondary that can guard him. Anthony?
It's going to be difficult. I mean, that's Georgia's biggest mismatch guy on offense. And, Dax Hill, like you said, will I have to choose my words carefully here. It is not completely official that he's not playing yet, and I think that's all I can really say. As we're sitting here, Cade McNamara is talking to the media, and someone asked about him, and Cade says it's not our job to comment on other players. We'll let Coach Harbaugh handle that. So I think there's a chance he can get on a plane and still get down there, but my understanding is that hasn't been the case yet due to what everyone else is dealing with. So we'll see what happens there. I do think there's still a chance he plays. So I wouldn't rule that out yet. It would be a weird situation, but that would be, Brock Bowers would be the one guy that Georgia has on offense. Not just the one guy. I mean, George Pickens is very good if he can play too, but those type of guys can turn games. So we'll see what happens there.
All right, Anthony, thank you so much for joining. I hope you're feeling better. Get well soon. Thank you so much again for joining us on the morning show today. Appreciate it, buddy, as always.
Of course, anytime. Thank you.
All right, guys, that was Anthony Broome joining us on the morning show, talking about the Orange Bowl, Michigan, Georgia. Oh, man, we got to go to break. When we get back, I am going to hand out my early end of the season awards for the NFL before the new year starts. Still a few more weeks in the NFL. Time to hand out some silverware and some gold, depending on what award you want to go for. But I do have to tell you about my good friends at the Foaling Warehouse. Host your corporate party, team building event, or just come in with family and friends. There are two ways to play: a $10 unlimited open play or a private lane reservation for $120 up to 10 people. They have over 100 beers, a $2 Mystic beer machine, and you can bring in your own food or have it catered. Your choice. Guys, come and get your foal on. That's Foaling Warehouse in Hamtramck. Visit foalingwarehouse.com.
Okay, you thirsty little spin goblins. I want you to pedal into the next dimension. Spin it! Spin! Spin! Uh-oh! Carmen's falling behind. Let's give her the hiss of shame. Spin! Spin! Spin till you bleed!
Don't ride the bike of shame. Come to Planet Fitness and find your own lane with tons of equipment, free fitness training, and no hissing. Join today for just $10 a month.
Detroit Sports on Demand.
DeAndre Swift, he's going to take it all the way for the touchdown. Open in the corner, he triples.
Make sure you download the Woodward Sports app today. Take us with you everywhere you go. Search Woodward Sports Network or WSN Live.
Welcome back to the Morning Woodward Show, 9:15 in the morning here downtown Birmingham. The weather... Do you guys really want me to describe the weather for you this morning?
It's not terrible.
Whatever. I think we've just become so accustomed to no snow that now when we see snow in the weather like this, it's just... not a fan. Been here all my life. Will never get adjusted to the cold or the snow. Sorry, can't do it. All right, early end of the year awards. I am going to hand out major awards to players and coaches around the NFL for their performances so far in the year. And we are going to start with, of course, the most coveted award, the most valuable player. Guys, as much as I love Jonathan Taylor, as much as I love Cooper Kupp, after this weekend, Aaron Rodgers is the MVP. And not only is Aaron Rodgers the MVP, he is the clear MVP. 3,700 yards passing, 33 touchdowns, 4 interceptions, a passer rating of 110.8, winning the NFC North, the current number 1 seed in the NFC. Guys, Aaron Rodgers is the clear MVP. I want it to be Cooper Kupp. I want it to be Jonathan Taylor. I like different. But damn it, Aaron Rodgers is just playing too well. He's playing so well. And I find it extremely hard that voters aren't going to give him the MVP. Me personally, I got to give it to him. Sorry. Moving on. Offensive Player of the Year, a player I mentioned a little bit ago. Cooper Kupp, set to break Calvin Johnson's record. Now, will he do it in the 16 games or will he do it in the 17th game? Likely the 17th, but who knows? Maybe he explodes and does it in 16, and maybe that'll shut up everyone so that they can actually give him credit for the season he's having. 132 receptions on the year, 1,734 yards, 14 touchdowns, all leading the NFL, and of course, 11 straight games of 90 or more receiving yards this year. That is an NFL record, and he is the only person in NFL history to do so. Cooper Kupp is in a class of his own. For me, the Offensive Player of the Year, and there are no doubts about it. Defensive Player of the Year, a man who has stepped into a team that was known for its atrocious defensive play. A team that nobody took seriously. And this young man stepped in and changed the fortunes of not only the defense, but the fortunes of that entire franchise. Who am I talking about? Defensive Player of the Year. The first Defensive Player of the Year to win it their rookie year in a very long time. Ladies and gentlemen, Micah Parsons. 79 total tackles, 13 sacks, 3 forced fumbles, and may I remind you, he is the heart and soul of that defense. It does not get any better. Guys, when we talk about most valuable defender, if you want to call this award Defensive Player of the Year, I don't care how you name it. It's essentially the most valuable defensive player. Micah Parsons, and it's not even close. It's not Trayvon Diggs. I love Trayvon Diggs. I think he's a playmaker. He's a ball hawk. He's been making plays all over the field all year. Having said that, he's also given up almost 1,000 yards through the air. He is the third most targeted receiver in the NFL. Corner in the NFL. Teams are not afraid of him. He's not a shutdown corner. He's having a fantastic year statistically. Great. Appreciate it. That does not mean we have to overstep. Micah Parsons is the clear Defensive Player of the Year, and he's clearly the best defensive player on Dallas. Moving on. Offensive Rookie of the Year. I struggled with this one. Jamar Chase, phenomenal breakout year. The connection with Joe Burrow, so fun to watch. But I have to give the close nod right now, today, Mac Jones. 3,300 yards, 18 touchdowns, leads all rookies in passing touchdowns, 12 interceptions. Mac Jones is the Rookie of the Year. Again, Jamar Chase, I really wanted to give it to him. I really did. But damn it, Mac Jones has looked really good all season. He struggled the last 2 games. We'll see how he finishes. Who knows? Jamar Chase may blow up the next 2 games. Mac Jones continues to struggle, and I could easily give the award to Jamar Chase. I don't have a problem with either of them winning it. Now, Defensive Rookie of the Year. Well, Adam, I think I know where you're going with this. I think you do, guys. My Defensive Player of the Year was a rookie, which all but eliminates everyone else from Defensive Rookie of the Year conversation. There's only one Defensive Rookie of the Year. I love Patrick Surtain. He's been doing great. J.C. Horn, before he got hurt early on in the year, looked promising. I don't care. Micah Parsons for Defensive Player of the Year and Defensive Rookie of the Year. He has been outstanding. Again, the most outstanding defensive player in all of football, set to break the rookie sack record held by Javon Curse. Think about that. He is having a phenomenal year. The Dallas Cowboys look great. They have playmakers all across the board. I am extremely happy with what is going on in Dallas, especially in terms of talent. Stephen Jones, man, God bless you. You've done a hell of a job. And Jerry Jones, good job being self-aware enough to say, you know what, I need to take a step back. Maybe I don't know what the hell I'm doing anymore. Let me give it to my kid. And you know what, my kid goes out and gets Zach Martin and has drafts after and after and after, full of talent. I'll take it. Good for you guys. Good for you. And, of course, Coach of the Year, which I didn't struggle with. But I did want to take into account, other coaches, different scenarios, different situations, who's overachieved, underachieved. And I think Bill Belichick clearly has overachieved in New England. Takes 1 year off, and they're suddenly back in the AFC playoff picture. They were the 1 seed 2 weeks ago at 9-4, but now they sit at 9-6 after losing to the Bills. I do have a problem with that. Yes, it may be recency bias, but they are 9-6, and I don't believe I'm going to hand out a 10-7 Coach of the Year award. My Coach of the Year is the man who probably should have won it one of the last 2 years, but he hasn't. So I'm going to give it to him this year, and that's Matt LaFleur. Matt LaFleur now 12-3 this year. May I remind all of you, 13-3 year 1, 13-3 year 2, and now 12-3 in year 3. The Green Bay Packers have overcome games where they are missing their defensive players all season. Jair Alexander, Zadarius Smith, A.J. Dillon has emerged as a top back, workhorse back, I should also note. Aaron Jones healthy, looks dynamic. Devontae Adams, the best wide receiver in the NFL. And, of course, the best quarterback in the NFL, Aaron Rodgers. That is a complete team. Matt LaFleur, to me, deserving of Coach of the Year. Guys, put it into context. Put it into perspective of just how good the Packers have been in this 3-year stretch since he's taken over. Unbelievably good. Unbelievable. So happy for him. So happy for the Green Bay Packers. My goodness. Matt LaFleur deserves to be recognized as Coach of the Year. May I remind all of you again, he went and played against Kansas City on the road, drove the ball up and down the field with a rookie quarterback, but we don't talk about that because they didn't put up enough points on the board, right? Mike McCarthy, Matt, I don't believe is in the running for Coach of the Year, and I'll tell you why. Mike McCarthy is doing a good job in Dallas. He really is. They've been extremely inconsistent this year, and I'm sorry, the Dan Quinn hire was a home run, and he should get credit for that. He should. But Dan Quinn has done a hell of a job with this defense, and they're going to have to pay him big bucks to keep him in Dallas. Because Dan Quinn, in this 1 year as defensive coordinator for Dallas, will get people looking at him for a head coaching position. Mike McCarthy is a good mention, honorable mention, along with Bill Belichick. If you want to throw in maybe Mike Vrabel, I don't mind that either. But I'm sorry, this year the award needs to go to where it belongs, in Green Bay with Matt LaFleur. We got to go to break. When we come back, Russell Wilson and the Los Angeles Lakers. The headlines this morning. Both of them, LeBron and Westbrook, got a triple-double last night. They beat the Rockets, so I guess they're finals favorites again, Everything is all in well in L.A. L.A., what'd you get yourself into? I tried to warn you about Russell, but I think I'm going to surprise people with what I'm going to say about Russell Westbrook in our next conversation. So, we got to head to break. When we get back, Russell Westbrook, Los Angeles Lakers talk, and then at 9:40, Ku Khalil from Locked On Pistons will be joining us to talk about Cade Cunningham, his superstar status, potentially, can he get there, and the surrounding rumors around the Pistons and Jeremy Grant. We'll get to that after the break.
Hi, I'm Cade Cunningham. I'm proud to partner with Hall Financial, the mortgage company known for 5-star service. Don't just take my word for it. Check out their 5,000 5-star reviews for yourself. Go to callhallfirst.com and get started with your 5-star experience today.
What's the over-under? Should I tease? Who is the lock of the night? Make sure you're watching Woodward Bets to get the latest in sports betting and more. Woodward Bets daily on Woodward Sports.
Fellas, football season is here. It's time to make your grooming experience easy like Sunday morning. Get to Lady Jane's Haircuts for Men. Walk in, relax, watch your favorite team play, and before you know it, your hair will be game ready. Get to Lady Jane's, open 10 to 8, 7 days a week. Walk in anytime. It's wicked awesome.
Follow us everywhere. Just search Woodward Sports on YouTube, Facebook, Twitter, Twitch, IG, and more.
I'm looking to bring on another HVAC tech right now.
We are recruiting 5 to 10 techs a month.
We're looking to grow and expand.
Every new tech we hire is from Northwestern Tech.
The hands-on training is fantastic.
They're always my first call.
We love hiring Northwestern Tech grads.
They come out trained and ready to work.
Our program is only 10.5 months, and our next classes are starting soon. So why wait?
I'm looking to hire
Hire a graduate
Of Northwestern Tech.
Northwestern Tech.
Northwestern Tech.
Northwestern Tech.
Opinions are like ear holes, and we're putting ours in yours.
Well, that's not winning, Joy.
It's Woodward Sports.
Welcome back to the Morning Woodward Show, 9:26 in the morning, downtown Birmingham, the Woodward Sports Studios, live on YouTube, Twitch, Twitter, the Woodward Sports app, available for download on the Apple and Google Play Store. Make sure you check it out and download it if you haven't already. Ah, La La Land. How I don't give a crap about you, but I do at this point because, to be honest, I am enjoying your misery. You wanted Russell Westbrook. You wanted this dynamic three-headed monster. You wanted LeBron, Russ, and AD. But I'm not here to tell you I told you so. I'm here to tell you, what did you expect? Russell Westbrook is giving you everything he is. And exactly who he is, and he's being himself. And that is the problem with Russell Westbrook. Is who he is as a basketball player is not good. It isn't. The numbers are good. Karl Anthony Towns called him out so eloquently. I love that. But I'm sorry, Russell Westbrook does not play the game of basketball thinking every single time up and down the court. Some of the mistakes he makes honestly are bone-headed mistakes. I do not understand it. And here's what I have to say to you, LA. LeBron, Mr. GM, La GM, you idiot. That's what you get. And you know what the true problem in LA is? It's not that Russell Westbrook came and that you actually expected him to help you deliver another championship. No. The true fundamental core problem is that you are an aging roster and Anthony Davis cannot stay on the court. All I heard was that, well, it's the New Orleans Pelicans, Adam. They don't want... Anthony Davis does not want to be there. When he leaves, he's going to turn it around. He is going to be an unstoppable player, plays 75 games a year for your team. He will not miss games. Okay. How's he doing? Russell Westbrook is not the core fundamental problem right now in LA. The problem in LA is that Anthony Davis cannot stay healthy. And that you have an aging old roster. And that you have a guy in Russell Westbrook who, yes, will fill up the stat sheet for you, but will translate to zero results. And I'm sorry, he's played with Kevin Durant, James Harden, Paul George. It's not for a lack of talent, Bradley Beal. I don't want to hear it. He is not a super... He's an all-star. He's an all-star who's definitely won an MVP. One of the greatest athletes I've ever seen play the game of basketball. Russell Westbrook himself. Absolutely. He is not a guy you go out and you compete for championships with. Sorry. You wanted a point guard? Should have went and got Chris Paul. You would be far better off with Chris Paul right now than Russell Westbrook. But again... Is it truly Russell Westbrook's fault on what's happening in LA? No. Don't get it confused. Don't get it twisted. Anthony Davis is exactly who he is. Street clothes. He's never playing. He's never available. And he's such a talented player, but he can't stay on the field. Again, I don't know how many times I have to say this, or on the court, excuse me. And Russell Westbrook is giving you everything. And, you know, he came out with his defense of himself. Look, man, teams, you know, guys are expecting 25. You guys in the media, you horrible people. You're expecting 25, 15, and 15 from me. No, you dumbass. You are, not us. You are because you play that way. You don't think what's best for the team. You think what's best for us. And I don't care how often you want to tell me, I don't know basketball. And what do I know when he's one of the best players to ever play and one of the best point guards? Hell, I would take Tony Parker, Chauncey Billups. Hell, I would take Damian Lillard. I would take Steph. Hell, I would take Ricky effing Rubio, Rodney Stuckey over Russell Westbrook. For this exact reason, he has zero self-awareness. And in the NBA, you can't win if you have zero self-awareness. Moving on from Russell Westbrook. Sorry, guys. It's been a while since I've vented about this disaster of a basketball player and LeBron being the absolute bitch he is, complaining 24/7. It's been a minute. So, excuse me, it's Wednesday. I've got a whole show to fill. I figured 3-4 minutes on this. It would serve me good and my blood pressure. All right? You got to look out for yourself sometimes, too. Russell Westbrook, quote unquote, I think I'm doing fine. You legend. You waste of a talent. My goodness. All right. Everybody, we touched on it a little earlier. I do want to revisit it. I think there is something here when it comes to Jared Goff. Guys, I don't think it's as done of a deal that he's going to go. It would not surprise me if Jared Goff is the future quarterback of this team. And when I say future, I'm not talking about next year. I'm talking 23 and 24 on. 2023, 2024, I would not be surprised if Jared Goff is suiting up in a Detroit Lions uniform and he is the starting quarterback, and that Brad Holmes and Dan Campbell have made the decision that, you know what, we can win with this guy. And you likely can get Jared Goff to extend on the cheap, given his situation. But is that the play, or is drafting a quarterback the play? Now, I'm part of the crowd that says you should draft a quarterback next year. And even if it's this year, if Brad Holmes is all in on a quarterback, he has my full support. Because I believe in Brad Holmes at the moment. I really do. He has proven he knows what he's doing in terms of draft, ability, and talent evaluation. So yes, I think Funky in the chat puts this absolutely in a perfect way. I wouldn't be surprised if Goff is around longer. I would just be sad. Joey 2 times confidently saying, I'm afraid of that too, Adam. And I think that could be where we may have to jump ship at some point. I want this regime to be successful. I want this coach to be successful. Don't get me wrong. But when you want to invest your futures, which is what Campbell and Holmes potentially would be doing, into Jared Goff, you have to accept that. Whatever, even if it's not Jared Goff, if they draft a quarterback, you've invested your future in the NFL into that quarterback. And if it doesn't work out with him, you will lose your job. That is the NFL. That is the NFL. And the more I hear Dan Campbell, Brad Holmes, players on the team talk about Jared Goff, the more I see a future where Jared Goff is the starting quarterback beyond 2023. It would not surprise me at all. And I think he fits into what they're trying to do. Run heavy packages, play action, deception, play focus on defense, control the clock. That is where I see the Lions heading. And what is cheaper? I love this question from R. Stone. What is cheaper, Goff's extension in 2023 or a draft pick? Of course, the draft pick. See, Goff will likely extend at 18 to 24 million for 2-3 years. I could totally see that happening. Or you can invest in a rookie that you believe in. But have we seen Jared Goff's ceiling? I think so. In Los Angeles, I think I've seen it. Can he retain it? Can he bring that level of play back? I don't think so. And if you don't have that level of play that got them to a Super Bowl and won them a division, well, then what are you investing in? And that's where I deviate from this entire notion that Goff should be the future. Can he bring back the Goff of old? Can he replicate that? And if he does, I think he earns the right to be the quarterback the following year in 2023. But if he doesn't, you strongly have to consider, guys, we are building a good, talented roster. Do we want to be the Cleveland Browns and get stuck with a marginal quarterback who isn't going to take us anywhere? That's your situation. If you stick with Jared Goff and he doesn't get back to what he was before, which is very unlikely, then you are the Cleveland Browns, a talented roster with no quarterback, a marginal quarterback, I should say. Where's that going to get you? Where? Baker's 29-29. I don't see it. Now, Dabber in the chat asking, what's the safer option? I don't think there's a safe option when it comes to quarterback. You got to go all in. So Dan, Brad, if it's all in on Jared, great. I'll evaluate you in a few years, and we'll decide if you're doing a good enough job or not. But I think we can all agree we've seen Jared Goff. Is he a Super Bowl winning quarterback? Forget that. That is maybe way too far out of the equation. Let's be realistic. Is he a division-winning quarterback in Detroit? If the answer is no, move on. Get the hell out of here. Do not waste my time with a 9-8 year, a 10-7 year, and not competing for the division and not winning it. Don't waste my time. If you don't believe in Jared Goff to the point where he can win you a division. Now, if he can, great. Go all in. Do it. But if it doesn't work, you have to accept responsibility for that. You have to take accountability. If you think there's another rookie out there, great. Go get that rookie. If you believe in him, go get that rookie. Go all in. Do not be complacent. Be patient. Do not be complacent. Jared Goff, may I remind you, has maybe had, 2, 3 games at the most where he's looked like a competent, good quarterback. One where he's looked very good. In a 17-game vacuum, which 2 games remaining, but you get my point. And that is enough to build your future around? Where are the standards here? May I remind you, all you would complain about in years past was Stafford never had an offensive line, never had a run game. Now you got both. Get the quarterback right. The success, I can guarantee it, if you just get the quarterback right. Now, again, I don't think Jared Goff is the answer. But if the Lions do believe that's the case, and they want to stick him around for another 2-3 years, they are writing their death wish. I'm telling you now. Because you don't have 4, 5, 6 years, i.e., for example, Matt Rule, you don't have 10 years, buddy, to get the quarterback right. Sorry. You get 2 years minimum, 3 likely, 4 if you've shown progress. Welcome to the NFL, guys. Welcome to the NFL. And if you don't like it, too bad. That's the National Football League. I don't see it. I understand Brad Holmes has a relationship with Goff. I totally get it. No issues with it. But when you make that decision, you will be held accountable for it. We got to go to break. When we get back, Ku Khalil from Locked On Pistons joins us to talk about Cade Cunningham and his ceiling as a potential superstar player and surrounding rumors. But before we go, Fish, tell everybody about Guardian Alarm.
Oh boy, Guardian Alarm. They get it. A good defense on and off the field helps you feel secure. Guardian Alarm has the state-of-the-art technology that helps you feel safe, all with local monitoring, with 24/7 local monitoring. Guardian Alarm also has convenient features that let you check in on your home, control your lights and your temperatures, detect smoke and carbon monoxide from this device, your phone. How awesome is that? It'll even let you unlock your doors and lock your doors. Call the number 1-800-STAY-OUT today. That's 1-800-STAY-OUT today. Guardian Alarm has been trusted for over 90 years, keeping families safe.
Okay, you thirsty little spin goblins. I want you to pedal into the next dimension. Spin it! Spin! Spin! Uh-oh! Carmen's falling behind. Let's give her the hiss of shame. Spin! Spin! Spin till you bleed!
Don't ride the bike of shame. Come to Planet Fitness and find your own lane with tons of equipment, free fitness training, and no hissing. Join today for just $10 a month.
Hi, I'm Kay Cunningham. Working with Hall Financial to purchase my first home was easier than I could have ever imagined. They treated me like family from start to finish. Find out for yourself at callhallfirst.com.
Fellas, football season is here. It's time to make your grooming experience easy like Sunday morning. Get to Lady Jane's Haircuts for Men. Walk in, relax, watch your favorite team play, and before you know it, your hair will be game ready. Get to Lady Jane's, open 10 to 8, 7 days a week. Walk in anytime. It's wicked awesome.
Woodward Sports. Missed part of the show today? Watch again on YouTube or download the podcast anywhere you listen to podcasts.
I'm looking to bring on another HVAC tech right now.
We are recruiting 5 to 10 techs a month.
We're looking to grow and expand.
Every new tech we hire is from Northwestern Tech.
The hands-on training is fantastic.
They're always my first call.
We love hiring Northwestern Tech grads.
They come out trained and ready to work.
Our program is only 10.5 months, and our next classes are starting soon. So why wait?
I'm looking to hire
a graduate
of Northwestern Tech.
Northwestern Tech.
Northwestern Tech.
Northwestern Tech.
Welcome back to the morning show here on the Woodward Sports Network, 9:42. Koo Khalil from Locked On Piston joining us this morning. Koo, I hope you're doing great, man. How's everything? How you feeling, bud?
I'm doing good. Thank you for having me. I don't know if you guys know this, but I have COVID, so I'm a little bit under the weather, but I'm happy to be on again.
Man, I love the background. You came in here last time and you were complimenting the studio and you kept telling us how nice it is. I love your setup, man. It's really cool.
Yeah, my fiance for Christmas, she got me the some of the background stuff. I didn't have all this before for all my videos and podcasts, so she knew I wanted to get my background set up, so she went out and got me all of the stuff behind me. So that's all credit to her.
But I love it, man. You got to be careful with that Stafford jersey, though. You got to be very careful. People in the chat, they might find you, man. I'd be very careful rocking that jersey. But Koo, I do want to get right into it. I see superstar ceiling in Cade Cunningham. I just do. Phenomenal talent. Having said that, when should Pistons fans expect to see him develop into a star player or maybe even a superstar? With Giannis, it took year 5. Steph, year 6. What's the timeline with Cade?
It depends by what you mean by superstar. So if you want to know when you should expect to see him as an all-star, I would say it would depend on when the Pistons start to compete and start to actually put a good roster around him, because he's not going to I don't think he's going to become an all-star until they have some kind of competitive team around him. They're not going to put him into the all-star game with him on a bad team. So I think it would probably be around the 2 to 3 year range for him to be an all-star, maybe 3 years from now, possibly 2 years from now, to be an all-star, and then for him to really take form and become like what his ceiling could be. I'd say around year 5 is where year 5, year 6 is where you see him really hit his absolute ceiling. But I think around 2 to 3 years from now, he should be, or I think he could be an all-star.
Fair enough, Koo. Look, trade rumors, I think it's been the center of conversation all season long around the Pistons, especially Jeremy Grant. I was pretty vocal before the season started. I wanted to see them get rid of him at the trade deadline. I didn't see it as a fit. One, where do you stand with Jeremy Grant? I think they are missing his quote-unquote veteran leadership. There's just such a young team. They're not going to win many games this year. But what are you doing with Jeremy Grant? Are you going to move him for draft capital? Or are you just going to keep him around? I mean, he's not costing you much anyways.
I think the Pistons should move on from Jeremy Grant. I think it's time to make a trade. I just recorded about this yesterday on my podcast, and I was able to talk with one of my friends about it. And he made a great point that, they signed him to a 3-year deal, and they knew that they were going to have to make this kind of a decision with him either this year or this offseason because of his deal and the way the extension, because his extension opens up this summer. So they were going to have to make a deal about him around this time anyway soon. I think the way Saddiq Bey has played since he has went out with his injury, Saddiq Bey is averaging 23 points a game, 44% from the field, 35% from deep, 8 attempts a game, 92% from the free throw line, 6.5 attempts a game. I think Saddiq Bey, you've seen him start to play a lot better with Jeremy Grant out the game. Off the team. I think you probably would have saw Jeremy Grant play a little bit better with Saddiq Bey off the team. They just both don't really fit together. They both are ball stoppers. They both they just don't fit together. You can have one of those guys on your team, but having multiple of them on your team, especially with Corey Joseph, Josh Jackson, just all the players on the rotation, the team isn't good in general. But when you have both those kind of guys on the team and the starting lineup at once, it just doesn't fit. There was one number thrown out at me yesterday, which really hammered it home for me. Over the last 15 games, in the 8 games that Jeremy Grant and Saddiq Bey both played, the Pistons are minus 28 with them on the floor, which is just putrid. But I think those numbers, and I think Saddiq Bey playing this well should make the Pistons feel more comfortable moving on from Jeremy Grant. But even outside of that, I think they've reached the point where his value is probably at the highest it could possibly be. Contenders are really desperate for him, and they should capitalize on that value, whether that's draft capital. I don't know if you'll get much draft capital from contending teams. It'll be late in the draft. I don't know if they have which team you'll deal with. You probably want a young player, maybe a draft asset, or maybe just anything. You just want to get value for them. So it depends what team they deal with, and they're probably going to want to do right by Jeremy too. So that all goes into effect. But I think they know that it's time to make a deal with him, and I think the rumors are showing that.
Absolutely. I will say Saddiq Bey's headband dilemma. What is up with that? Why is it when he wears the headband, I see Superman? And for the beginning of the year, when he didn't wear it the first 20, 30 games, he looked like he forgot how to play basketball.
Who knows, man? The headband is something. It's something funny. It definitely lines up with the same thing with Jeremy Grant being out, but the headband. I think the headband's a better choice for why he's playing better. Forget all the other stuff. The headband has some superpowers with it.
That's awesome. Look, I'm not a headband guy. Look, I know Ben Wallace rocked it. There's some really good players that have rocked it. I'm not a headband guy. I never played basketball in middle school and high school and thought to myself, you know what, man, this headband's going to give me Superman powers. I didn't see it. But look, whatever works for him. He's been looking really good. I do want to end it on this note. The team is struggling, obviously. They are pretty bad. They are what their record says they are. One, what's the situation and patience-wise? How patient should the fans be in terms of the team growth and Dwayne Casey? And more importantly, what offseason moves should we expect from Troy Weaver to have a more balance in terms of age, especially on that team? It's so young. They do need 2-3 veteran guys that can play anywhere from 14 to 22 minutes a game.
Well, as far as it goes with this season, I think people before the season were there were a lot of fans who were, I'll say, mistaken and had a little bit of too high, not even a little bit, quite too high of hopes for this team. This team was never going to be that good. I talked about before the season that they could improve. It was reasonable, and I think with the way you see how the East is played, it's reasonable to expect that that Killian Hayes could have taken a step forward. Saddiq Bey could have taken a step forward. All of the young guys could have taken some kind of step forward, and the Pistons still could have found themselves as the 14th, 13th team in the East because of how good the East is now. Everyone got better, and the Pistons were just so young, and they didn't really have that much talent on the roster anyway, so they could have gotten better at each spot and still could have ended up with the 13th, 14th spot in the East. So the patience, and it's the first year of their rebuild. The fans have yelled for years that they wanted a true rebuild. No more of the 8th seed, competing for the 8th seed, 7th seed, finishing between the 8th and 12th pick. No more of that. We want a full rebuild. Okay, well, now you have the full rebuild. This is what happens in a full rebuild. You lose a ton. It's a lot of losing. So, and I shouldn't say the first year. This is the second year of the rebuild. But you lose a ton. And you got Kate Cunningham, so you got the first step of it. But it's going to take a while. The team doesn't have that much talent. They're about to get another top pick this summer, which will help them a lot. So the team obviously is decimated by COVID-related issues. They have a bunch of guys who aren't even Detroit Pistons on the squad right now. So it's hard to, really say anything about them right now. But the fans need to have a lot more patience than they're showing. I've seen some show right now because it's a rebuild. This is what happened. You're going to lose a lot. And until you get a proper team around Kay Cunningham, it's going to be like this for a minute. As far as it goes in the summer, the Pistons should be. I think Torrey will go out and get a starting caliber center, one that is effective in the pick and roll game. I think he'll also address shooting, which they said they tried to address this past offseason, but I think it was a little bit of like just, window shopping, kind of just, giving the fans what they wanted to hear. They didn't really address it that well. I think they'll address it even more this offseason, but I think the main need that they'll address this offseason is a true big man at the center. It's one that can effectively play in the pick and roll.
Fair enough, Koo. Thank you so much for joining in this morning. Sorry about the technical issues before we got on. Would love to have you on maybe a few weeks from now, maybe in studio if you're available. We'll stay in touch. Thank you again so much. We appreciate it. Everybody, that's Koo Khalil from Locked on Pistons. Check him out on social media. Check out the podcast. We do have to go to break. When we get back, mailbag time. Get your questions ready. And I'll start answering them. Guys, Jared Goff, Detroit Lions, Detroit Pistons, Tigers, you name it, I got the answers. All the answers. Flowing today. Keep them coming. We got to go to break. When we get back, again, mailbag.
Fellas, football season is here. It's time to make your grooming experience easy like Sunday morning. Get to Lady Jane's Haircuts for Men. Walk in, relax, watch your favorite team play, and before you know it, your hair will be game ready. Get to Lady Jane's, open 10 to 8, 7 days a week. Walk in anytime. It's wicked awesome.
Hi, I'm Kay Cunningham. I'm proud to partner with Hall Financial, the mortgage company known for 5-star service. Don't just take my word for it. Check out their 5,000 5-star reviews for yourself. Go to callhallfirst.com and get started with your 5-star experience today.
Opinions are like ear holes, and we're putting ours in yours.
Well, that's not winning, Joy.
It's Woodward Sports.
Welcome back to the Morning Woodward Show, 9:52. Final 8 minutes of the show. Thank you guys so much for joining us today. Question time. Adam, Alex, Fish, in your words, what do you believe the future holds for Detroit sports teams in terms of management? Well, I'll tell you this. I feel the Tigers with A.J. Hinch are heading in the right direction. I think they compete for the pennant this year. The Red Wings totally trust Steve Yzerman. I turn a blind eye. I pay attention. I see what's going on. I support it completely. Troy Weaver, Dwayne Casey, this is a rough year. It is a rebuild. And like Koo mentioned, you're going to lose a lot of games in a rebuild. So you just have to be a little patient. But I think they turn it around. I think they got some players. Expect the Pistons to be relevant in a few years. And then, of course, the Detroit Lions. Faith is something I can't even put into words with this football team. I don't think you should have faith ever, considering what they've done for you. But, having said that, I do think the future is bright. I brought it up earlier on in the show. Detroit may have a future. We did our 5-word game, and my 5 words for Detroit was Detroit may have a future. And I really believe that. Brad Holmes has done an impressive job year one. The coaching staff is coaching up their players. It shows week in and week out. It may not be the best football, but you know what? You at least need to see into next year. Can they improve? Can they bring 6-7 wins? And if they do, they've earned the right for the 3rd year, and so on and so on. So that, to me, is your future outlook for these teams. Would I rather have J.J. McCarthy or Jared? Guys, it's not even a question, J.J. McCarthy. I don't care that he's a kid. I'll take him right now over Jared Goff. So, look, I'm not interested in Jared Goff. We'll see what the Lions end up doing. Are we on the Lions draft capital / losing train for 2022? Absolutely. And you should be. You should want the best pick available to you once you're eliminated from the playoffs. Now, whether you pick 1 or 2 or even 3 in this draft, I think it's irrelevant. Because I do believe the Jacksonville Jaguars will make the responsible decision and take the tackle out of Alabama. And when they do that, the 2 following teams will have their choice of Aiden Hutchinson or Kayvon Thibodeau. So the Lions will walk away with a good ball player. Now, if the Lions are sitting at 3 and there's a team that wants an end and they want to trade up a spot or 2 for him, great. You can maybe take a Kyle Hamilton at 5. Who knows? But I like where the Lions are. I think you have to, at this point, losing is better for you. But look, they're going to compete every week. I don't think that's a question. That's the question. I'm sorry. Guys, more questions. Let's see what you got. What does Detroit have to do to keep Aaron Glenn long term? I believe there's a lot of success will depend on his continued success getting everything out of our defense. Look, I think we can all admire the job Aaron Glenn has done. He's clearly been the best coach on the staff all season, most consistent. Having said that, he will not entertain offers this offseason. I can't guarantee that the next. Next season, I expect the defense to be significantly better, especially statistically across the board. And that will draw attention. And somebody will look at him. Whether it will be the Broncos at the time or some other team that will need a head coach, who knows? But that is your future with Aaron Glenn. He will get head coaching nods. He will. He's done a phenomenal job year one. I expect him to improve year two, and if he does so, he should be looked at for a head coaching gig. I'm not sure you can keep him outside of offering him a head coaching role if you just don't like Dan Campbell, which I don't see happening. So with Aaron Glenn, look, I mean, coordinators come and go. That's why the head coach is so important. Do you have the head coach that can continuously make the right decisions? And if you do, great. You're going to enjoy your life. You're going to enjoy your life. All right, next question. Adam, do you think Dan Campbell calls plays next year? Who are the OC candidates we should pursue? I don't think you should pursue any OC. And I don't think Dan Campbell will be calling plays. I would like to see Ben Johnson promoted. But unfortunately, the more I hear about it, the more I lose faith. And the more I hear that Deuce Staley will ultimately get that nod. And if they do, okay, again, guys, accountability. When you make these decisions, you have to be accountable for the good and the bad. So if you do promote Deuce Staley and it backfires, that is a reflection on your decision making. The same with Ben Johnson. The same with any OC you bring in. But no, I do not see Dan Campbell calling plays next year. I don't think he can do it long term. And you have to remember something, guys. When we're talking about a play caller, we're talking about a guy innovative. A guy that week in and week out is going to give you different looks so they can pull off the plays they want to run. Do you see that with Dan Campbell? Do you? Do you think a year and a half from now, teams wouldn't have really figured out what he's trying to do and accounted for it? You also have to keep in mind that this is the first time teams are seeing Dan Campbell call plays. It's all new to teams. So I would be very careful. I really, really would. Are defensive-minded head coaches really in style right now? I love that question. Who asked that question? That's a great question. Steve Brown, of course he did. Steve, that's a phenomenal question, and I agree with you. I don't believe defensive-minded head coaches are where the league is going. The league is going towards a Kyle Shanahan, a Matt LaFleur, a Sean McVay, a Kellen Moore. Young, innovative, young-minded head coaches. That is where the league is going, and some of them work, some of them don't. Arthur Smith, Matt Rule, doesn't matter. It's always going to be a hit and miss here. But that's where the league is going. I don't see it being defensive-minded, especially with all the rules in place. Guys, 9:59. Thank you so much. Don, I agree with you. I don't want Deuce calling plays either, but again, we don't make those decisions, which is why you have to hold people accountable for their decisions and their actions. Having said that, thank you guys so much for an outstanding 2 hours. I hope you enjoyed the show today. I hope you enjoyed the setup. We did our best given the short notice. Have a great Tuesday. Or excuse me, Wednesday. See, guys, I'm all over the place already. Have a great Wednesday. We'll see you tomorrow. Hopefully Jeff will be in. Jake Butt live on the morning show, 9 a.m. tomorrow. Can't wait for it. We'll see you all. Have a great rest of your Wednesday. Fish, enjoy your soccer. I know you'll be watching.
I will be. I'm watching darts right now. I'm just having a great time. It's incredible.
Take care, everybody.